Stop! You owe me. All the times I could have killed you, and I didn't. You can do whatever you want. I am the Homelander.
No. No, you ain't nothing.
The Boys Season 5 starts with a big VOT international meeting for people who own stock. Homelander speaks first with a strong and smart talk. He uses this time to point out the rising power of the Starlights, trying to make them look like a bad group. But things do not go as he hopes. Starlight and her team sneak into the event, trying to turn the business meeting into total mess. People see them right away. Black Noah spots them almost at once and starts a mean attack, while Starlight keeps him busy in a tough fight. One of her friends secretly breaks into VOT's computer system. Lucky for them, they were about to do what they had planned, and a shocking video gets out. It shows Homelander during the Flight 37 problem, choosing to leave regular people instead of helping them, even as Queen Maeve begs him to save them. The video spreads fast, about to ruin his good name. Just as Homelander looks ready to lose control and do something awful, Sister Sage steps in and stops things from getting worse. Fixing the damage starts right away. Sister Sage goes on TV calling the video fake and made by AI, trying to make people doubt it before it gets out of hand. Ashley later backs up this lie in public, saying the video is a fake made by extreme Starlight fans for political reasons. Away from others at VOT HQ, Sage tells Homelander their plan is working. In less than one day, they have filled the internet with so many lies that the harm is kept small. Even with a small drop in stock price, the total damage looks small, but Homelander is not happy. Still mad and embarrassed, he yells about Starlight's growing fans, upset that her group is getting stronger instead of going away. He makes it clear he wants total loyalty and anyone in his way must be killed. His plan is cruel: find and kill Hughie and Frenchie within days, using them as bait to pull Starlight out. In another place, worry grows. Frenchie, now in jail, does his normal business, not knowing he's being watched until Hughie shows up just in time to pull him out of danger. At the same time deals with his own issues, getting into a heated fight before meeting back up with Frenchie to talk about the leaked video. Their talk is cut short when a fight breaks out nearby. Butcher's story gets darker. He faces his past, meeting his father and seeing painful memories of mistreatment. The meeting is intense and not solved, leaving questions about what he does next. Back at VOT, Homelander shifts focus again, this time during a weird, almost uncomfortable moment with his hair and clothes helper as her heartbeat kept going fast, before Firecracker shows up to run a big press event. Homelander is clearly upset, not just by everything happening around him, but also by something much more personal: his milk. He is angry that Firecracker can no longer give him what he has been using. She says she had to stop taking the pills that helped her make more milk because they were hurting her health badly. At last, the press event starts as Firecracker takes the main spot, bravely calling the Flight 37 video fake. She goes further by saying even the look of Thomas Godolkin in the video is made by a computer, backing up VOT's story and keeping the public split. The story then moves to Kimiko, alone in her home when she is suddenly attacked, only to see it is Butcher. He makes it clear he is not there to hurt her, but to give her urgent news, which is that Homelander is coming after Frenchie and Hughie. Over at the jail, Hughie tries to get another prisoner to help with their escape plan, but things quickly turn scary when another prisoner tries to break out and is killed right away, reminding everyone how little time they really have. At the same time, Butcher brings Kimiko to meet Starlight, who is shocked to see that Kimiko can now talk. The group quickly joins together, talking about Homelander's plan to kill the captured members of their team. Even though it is clearly a trap, they decide they have no choice but to try a rescue before time runs out. Inside the jail, Frenchie and Hughie start drawing their own escape plan, knowing they have only 72 hours to make it work. Back at VOT HQ, Homelander's craziness becomes more clear. He calls Black Noir and the Deep, demanding answers on where Etrian, Starlight and Butcher are. Angry at the lack of news, he warns them that he thinks someone in their group has turned against him. In another place, Ashley is in the middle of a public TV chat with Firecracker when Sister Sage cuts in, only to tell Ashley Homelander's new orders. Any regular person showing support for Starlight must be caught right away. Ashley is clearly not okay with this, but she knows she has no choice. On the other hand, Butcher, who is now getting ready for the mission ahead, reaches out to an old friend named Worm to help carry out their plan. At the same time, A-Train meets with Starlight and Kimiko. They try to get him to join the rescue job, but he says no to helping, choosing to put his family first first instead of taking the risk. Back in the jail, the escape plan keeps coming together. However, when Hughie returns to one of the rooms, he walks into a scary scene. Homelander has already been there, leaving no one alive. Homelander shows he knows all about their escape try and starts making fun of Hughie, asking why anyone would risk so much just to save them. The worry builds more as A-Train later meets with his brother, sharing a rare kind moment. His brother says how proud he is of him, but the moment is cut short when danger comes close. The Deep shows up at the scene, but only to warn A-Train that Homelander is coming for him and will not stop. At the same time, with no time left, Butcher, Starlight and Kimiko move ahead with their rescue mission. Using Worm's help, they break into the building through an underground path, but as soon as they enter, they see they have walked right into a trap. Homelander is already waiting. A mean fight breaks out. After Kimiko makes him mad, Homelander attacks without waiting, then turns his focus to Butcher, hinting at his new powers. Just as things get worse, Starlight shoots out a strong blast that briefly blinds him, throwing the fight into total chaos. Fights break out everywhere. Frenchie and Kimiko share a short loving moment in the middle of the craziness. While Butcher takes down one of the soups, Sam fights another prisoner and ends up killing him. While Homelander locks in on Hughie, trying to kill him for good, at the last second, A-Train arrives to save him, starting a fast, high-speed chase. The chase ends in a hard crash where Homelander finally catches up. Without waiting, he grabs A-Train and snaps his neck in a mean way. A few days later, Vought International holds a big public funeral for A-Train, carefully twisting the story to put the blame on Starlight and her fans. Not long after, the focus moves to Butcher, who gets the team together at his secret base. There, with the help of Dr. Samir, they have been working on something dangerous, a sickness made just to take down Homelander. After several tries, Samir finally succeeds in making a version that could target him alone. With a plan in motion, the group shares a rare quiet moment. Hughie and Starlight take some time for themselves while Kimiko asks about Butcher's true reasons behind the sickness. Frenchie manages to calm her worries, and their talk soon turns personal, leading to a deeper bond between them. At the same time, Homelander shows an unexpected side of himself. Even after everything, he seems to feel some guilt over A-Train's death, telling himself that he acted like a mixed up version of a protective older brother. But that moment does not last. He makes a bold move by opening Soldier Boy's frozen sleep pod. In another place, the team starts getting ready for their next mission, which involves moving a huge soupe as part of their bigger plan. But it seems impossible because the soupe weighs about 30,000 pounds, so the crew plans to just test the sickness on him. Back at Vought HQ, Soldier Boy wakes up, confused about what happened. Homelander tells him a fake story, claiming he was held prisoner by the CI for years. He then makes an offer help find Butcher and his team, and in return he will give Soldier Boy his old spot at Vought as the number 2 hero. The offer does not sit well with Soldier Boy, especially given their violent past. But Homelander makes it clear he is willing to ignore everything, as long as Soldier Boy gets the job done. At the same time, Sister Sage keeps tightening control as she reports that they have found thousands of Starlight fans and is ready to go ahead with catching them. Even the president hesitates, pointing out that many of these people still buy things from Vought. That talk is cut short when Homelander shows up, officially naming Soldier Boy as the newest member of the Seven and his second in command. In another place, MM tracks down Countess Crow, but ends up in a fight with her bird. After managing to calm the bird down, he brings Countess Crow back to the team, where they think about using her as a test subject for the sickness. Later, Sister Sage talks to Homelander alone, asking whether he told Soldier Boy about the weapon that can kill Soups before sending him after Butcher. Homelander says he did not, revealing that bringing his father back was only a smart move. The focus returns to Butcher, who talks to Countess Crow, trying to explain who they really are and what is at risk. But she does not believe any of it. Scared, she begs for her life, saying she just wants to go home to her family. Not long after, everything falls apart. While moving the team, they are suddenly attacked. Soldier Boy has found them. Situation turns intense right away, but instead of backing down, Butcher makes a bold call. He decides to use Soldier Boy as a live test subject for the plan. Soldier Boy, who is now mad about being trapped again, fights back. Butcher stands his ground, showing they now have a sickness that can kill Soups, and hints that this whole fight may have been set up by Homelander. A short but explosive fight breaks out, giving Butcher just enough of a distraction to get his team out. Chaos spreads across the area. Other Soups join the attack, going after Kimiko and Hughie, but Starlight steps in just in time to save them. What follows is a very dangerous chase, with Soldier Boy managing to get his hands on the sickness. Is this the sickness he was talking about? However, he does not realize it is not what it seems. Moments later, things take a deadly turn as the sickness starts to work, quickly hurting every soup in the area. One by one, they start to fall, including Soldier Boy himself, who is caught in the terrible effect. As the team escapes the falling apart situation, it is shown that Mother's Milk secretly let Countess Crow live, choosing kindness over revenge. In another place, after a short talk with Sister Sage, Ashley goes to her car, clearly upset. In that quiet moment, we finally see Ashley's new powers. Back with Butcher's group, they watch video of the outbreak, seeing firsthand just how strong and dangerous the sickness truly is. The weight of it hits hard. Frenchie becomes very worried about what the sickness could mean for Kimiko, and starts thinking about leaving everything behind to protect her. But Kimiko is not ready to run, as she says no to the offer. At the same time, Homelander shows up at the damage site with the Deep, only to find what is left of Soldier Boy. Seeing him like that clearly hurts Homelander more than expected, as he again struggles with his own actions. But just when it seems over, Soldier Boy suddenly shows signs of life. Next episode opens with a hidden team carrying out a job in a faraway place. Out of nowhere, they are attacked by a strong unseen force, and one by one the team is whipped out. Just when one soldier tries to run, the attacker is shown to be Ryan. The scared survivor begs for mercy, but Ryan says no, killing him to keep his location a secret. In another place, Homelander officially shows Soldier Boy to the public as the newest member of the Seven. However, the spotlight quickly moves, and Homelander starts to feel less important next to his own father. Trying to get attention back, he shocks everyone by saying that Soldier Boy is actually his dad. Later, Homelander talks to Soldier Boy, who is furious about being sent after Butcher, especially knowing he had a deadly sickness that could kill Supes. However, Homelander denies any part in it, but their argument is cut short when news comes about the lab results. Back with the team, Dr. Samir and the others are shocked to find that Soldier Boy is somehow still alive, even after being exposed to the sickness that was meant to finish him for good. In that moment, Dr. Samir figures something out. He says that Soldier Boy carries a special substance in his blood called V1. He explains that this is not just any version of Compound V, but actually Frederick Watt's earliest test formula, a much older and far less stable mix. Over at Watt headquarters, Sister Sage tells Homelander and Soldier Boy the same news. She explains that V1 is much more powerful than the modern version, about 10 times stronger but also very unpredictable, which is why it was only ever used on a small group of early Supes like Bombsight, Torpedo, Private Angel, Stormfront and Soldier Boy himself. Curious, Homelander asks whether being Soldier Boy's son gives him any kind of shield. However, he is quickly shut down with a clear answer that his origin is different. His unborn body was made stronger using a normal version of Compound V, not the first V1. Back with the boys, Dr. Samir explains the stakes. He believes that if Homelander ever gets access to V1, it could change everything, making him safe from the sickness just like Soldier Boy, and possibly even pushing him past normal limits completely. At the same time, Homelander quickly demands to get V1. Sadly for him, he is told that every known sample was supposedly destroyed by Watt, leaving nothing behind. Even so, Dr. Samir is not sure it is all gone. He says there is still a chance that a hidden bottle exists somewhere off the record, something even Watt might not know about. With that idea in mind, the team decides they need to find it first before Homelander finds out and beats them to it. Starlight then steps in, hinting that she might know exactly where to start looking. At the same time, the bad blood between Homelander and Soldier Boy keeps growing. Soldier Boy becomes more and more suspicious, sure that Homelander knew about the sickness all along and only brought him back to finally get rid of him. He warns Homelander that even if the sickness fails, time will eventually take its toll, and when that moment comes, he plans to rise up and take control of the Seven for himself. As the crew follows a lead to a new place looking for answers, things suddenly take a dangerous turn when Zoe Newman shows up and nearly fires an attack, but Stan Edgar steps in, stopping her before things get out of hand. Although he is furious over Victoria Newman's death at Butcher's hands, Stan knows he has few choices. He agrees to work with the group, hoping their combined efforts can finally put an end to the growing threat of the Supes. Not long after, they run into Maverick, Translucent's son, who is still angry at Watt for the way they hid the truth about his father's death. He explains that Watt International had told him a fake story that a super bad guy tied to a drug gang was to blame for his father's death. Because of that, he trusted only Stan Edgar, that Homelander was behind it. The news catches everyone off guard, but instead of fixing his mistake, they go along with it to avoid making him suspicious. Shortly after, Stan Edgar starts breaking down the truth of V1 for the group. He describes it as a cruel and very unstable formula, far from the clean version people know today. To make his point clear, he talks about Frederick Watt's earliest tests at Daco, showing that the first test subject went through awful pain. According to him, thousands of lives were lost in those trials, with with only a handful of successes. Even after Vought switched sides and joined the Allies, the testing did not stop. He kept trying the formula on US soldiers using V1. By the early 1950s, however, Vought had finally managed to make the compound stable, wiping out all signs of V1's existence and hiding its history completely. Stan insists that as far as he knows, no leftover samples are out there. Not long after, Zoe quietly slips away, making Hughie follow her. He tries to talk things through, especially about what happened to her mother, explaining that he never meant for things to go that far. But Zoe is not ready to hear any of it. She is still angry and unwilling to forgive. In another place, Homelander keeps having strong episodes of fear along with clear visions. In one of these moments, he imagines Madeline, who tells him exactly what he wants to hear, praising his strength and making his feeling of being better stronger. The vision seems to calm him, even giving him a fresh sense of power, a true god. At the same time, Ryan runs into Zoe. He asks if Butcher is working with her and Stan Edgar, but she says no. Instead, she tells him their plan to use the others as bait to find Butcher and kill him. Ryan immediately pushes back, worried that things could get worse and put Zoe in danger. He says he cares more about her safety than going after Butcher, begging her to drop the plan completely. As she walks away, Ryan hears something nearby and follows the noise, only to come face to face with Butcher. Their talk starts tense, with Ryan admitting he is starting to think Zoe might be right about him. But after some convincing, he agrees to hear Butcher out in private. At the same time, at Vought HQ, Soldier Boy meets with Homelander, who is clearly upset that he does not have V1 in his system. The idea of missing out on that kind of power eats at him, but he tries to hide it, promising instead to make the most of whatever time he has. Back at Stan Edgar's place, he hands over a set of papers that could point them in the right direction. Still, he remains doubtful that they will be able to fully read what is inside. Around this time, Hughie talks to Maverick, trying to reason with him about his father. Maverick, however, is focused on one thing: taking down Homelander. Sure, he is the one to blame. Switching back to Butcher, he tells his plan to Ryan, using the sickness as a weapon against Homelander. But he does not hide the risk Ryan could also be hurt. Afterward, Butcher briefly steps away, using the moment to secretly slip a tracker into Ryan's pocket. Even with everything, Ryan finally agrees to go along with the plan. At Stan Edgar's hideout, the team keeps searching for any possible lead on V1. Suddenly, Black Noir, the Deep, and other supes storm the building. Strangely, Stan stays calm, sure that their spot is safe enough to survive the attack. Then they realize something is wrong. Zoe is no longer with them. The scene moves to Zoe, who has followed Frenchie and Kimiko back to their hiding spot. As she gets ready to strike, she instead finds her father there. When Frenchie arrives, he catches Dr. Samir in the middle of destroying his own work, having learned the truth that it was not Homelander who killed Victoria but Butcher. Frenchie tries to step in, but Kimiko stops him and tells them to just leave. At the same time, Stan Edgar leaves a voice message for Zoe, warning her not to come back home before getting ready for his own escape. At Vought, Homelander gives Sister Sage a new order. He wants a fresh version of V1 made no matter the cost, and this time, he says they should skip animal tests altogether and move straight to using criminals as test subjects. In another place, Firecracker and Soldier Boy get ready for a TV chat. What starts as a casual talk about weapons quickly moves into something more personal, with a surprising romantic spark growing between them. They eventually touch on Firecracker's past with Homelander, but she plays it down, saying she sees herself more as a mother figure in his life than anything romantic. Back with Butcher, he takes Ryan to his hideout and shows him a softer side of his world, including his dog. The moment is broken when Kimiko shows up with urgent news about Dr. Samir. Butcher is clearly mad, but he keeps it under control and heads out, set on getting back the sickness. Ryan, however, suggests facing Homelander without it, believing he is strong enough now to handle him. Butcher immediately says no to that idea, refusing to take that kind of risk. Back at Stan Edgar's hideout, the group gives Maverick a smoke device, hoping it will help him stop the Deep and his team. But things do not go as planned. Maverick is caught before he can act. While in custody, he is told a shocking truth. Butcher and his crew were to blame for his father's death. As chaos breaks out, Stan Edgar puts his own escape first, locking Hughie and the others inside as he runs. However, his plan fails when the Deep catches him and takes over the situation. Elsewhere, Maverick fights with Hughie. Hughie tries to explain and even says sorry, but Maverick is not ready to hear it. Before things can get worse, one of Homelander's enforcers shows up to kill Maverick, only for Starlight to step in just in time and take the attacker down. At the same time, Ryan returns to Vought Tower to face Homelander. Butcher secretly follows him. Homelander tries to make up for his past actions. Ryan, looking for the truth, asks him about what happened to his mother. When Homelander avoids giving a clear answer, the tension snaps. A mean fight fight breaks out between father and son, but Homelander quickly gets the upper hand, overpowering Ryan and leaving him badly hurt. "Ryan, buddy, look what came out of it. Look at what you made me do." Not long after, Butcher arrives and finds Ryan passed out. At the same time, the Deep brings Stan Edgar face to face with Homelander, setting up another intense showdown. Next episode opens with Firecracker talking to Homelander when he suddenly says that he can feel Soldier Boy's presence all over her. Firecracker quickly shrugs it off, claiming she has only been near him lately. Homelander then shares something odd. He says he has been visited by what he thinks is an angel who told him he is the chosen savior of the world. To him, this only proves what he has always believed, that he is special. He goes on to tell Firecracker that she has always seen him this way too, and because of that, he has picked her to help spread his message. So, left with no other choice, she agrees. The scene then cuts to Ryan waking up with Butcher watching over him. As Butcher tries to get him to stay hidden for a while, Ryan ignores the advice and flies off. At the same time, the boys start planning a mission to Fort Harmony, where they hope to find and destroy V1. Hughie explains that Homelander now has control over Stan Edgar, and both sides are now in a race to grab the substance. V1 has become a key part of the fight. If Butcher's team gets it first, it could help save Annie, Kimiko, and even Butcher himself. But if Homelander reaches it first, he could become almost unstoppable. In another place, Starlight arrives at a quiet home where a man is clearing snow from his porch. It turns out to be her father, who is now a police officer and has built a whole new life. She says she has been looking for him for months, and this is their first meeting in over 20 years. Suddenly, it is also shown that he now has a family, including a son named Mason, making him Starlight's younger brother. At the same time, Sister Sage meets with Soldier Boy and tells him that Homelander has already left with Stan Edgar toward Fort Harmony to find any leftover V1. They believe getting it could let Homelander live forever, possibly next to his father. Back in the woods, Butcher and his team move carefully through the area when Hughie suddenly slips and finds something awful. Dead bodies spread everywhere, all killed in a cruel way. Worry grows elsewhere as Black Noir confronts the Deep over a past betrayal. The Deep defends himself, saying it was not personal, it is just how their job works. As the boys reach a nearby building, Hughie briefly opens up about Starlight leaving during their last mission, but the moment is cut short when they notice something very upsetting. Everything around them is dead with no clear reason. Back with Starlight, she is introduced to her stepmother, Caddy, and the two share an awkward but polite talk. At VA headquarters, Firecracker starts pitching Homelander's new image to the board. She explains the idea of showing him as a holy figure, a savior for the people. However, the bosses are not convinced, pointing out that this approach could clash with current Christian beliefs. Firecracker argues they need to change the story around a more American kind of hero, but Ashley remains unsure, warning that people may not accept Homelander being shown in such a way. At the same time, Homelander and Soldier Boy arrive at the same spot and are met with the same awful sight, dead bodies everywhere. When Homelander asks why he changed his mind in helping him find the V1 and also what happened to those dead, Soldier Boy brushes it off without much care. Inside the building, Butcher's team finds papers that might be helpful, but bad feelings within the group begin to rise. Everyone seems oddly mean and on edge until Frenchie points out that something's not right. There is something in the air affecting them and they need to stay focused before things get out of hand. Back at Starlight's father's house, things feel a bit tense as Mason is seen blasting loud music, clearly going through something. Not long after, Herdet sits down with her for a heartfelt talk as he tells her how proud he is to call her his daughter and opens up about how he first met her mother. During this, he does not hold back as he says he never agreed with what her mom did, especially giving her Compound V as a child. He also takes blame for his past, saying sorry for leaving her life. Their moment gets broken again by Mason's music, so Starlight decides to go talk to him directly. At the same time, back with the boys, Frenchie becomes even more sure that something in the air is affecting everyone. He explains that the air is poisoned, causing extreme anger, so much so that the animals and people in the area have likely turned on each other. The only reason he is not affected is because of the drugs he has tried over time. Shortly after, they spot Homelander and Soldier Boy arriving at the spot. Butcher immediately wants to fight them, but Frenchie stops him, warning that rushing in would be a mistake. Instead, they stay focused on finding V1 only to see they are too late. Someone has already gotten there first. The scene then cuts to a police officer arriving at Jay's house after Mason reported Starlight. John tries to explain that she is his daughter, but the officer is not interested in listening and pushes for her arrest. Just as things start to get worse, John manages to calm the situation before it gets out of hand. "What's been making us do, pulling people out of their homes? You know it's wrong. She better be gone in an hour or back at the building." Homelander and Soldier Boy unknowingly start to feel the effects of the bad air. At the same time, Butcher and his team are also starting to lose control, arguing over over things that barely make sense. The tension reaches a breaking point when Butcher grabs Hughie, and the situation nearly turns violent. You know, I used to say to these guys, don't give up on Butcher, can kill you. Pilot Homelander and Soldier Boy are not doing much better. As things get worse, Soldier Boy ends up locking Homelander inside a safe filled with strong uranium, making him weak, and then heads off to destroy V1 himself. With the poison now fully affecting them, the boys scatter and try to regroup, but the anger keeps getting worse. Butcher eventually finds Homelander trapped in the safe, weak, and trying to break free. The two share a tense moment with Butcher saying he plans to take the V1 for himself. In another place, chaos continues as the team turns on each other, until Frenchie suddenly runs into Soldier Boy, starting a very dangerous chase. During the chase, they find the real source of the craziness, a soup named Quinn who is stuck against a wall. Soldier Boy knows him as a former test subject. Frenchie begs him to end Quinn's life to stop the chaos, but Soldier Boy first says no, wanting him to suffer instead. However, Frenchie manages to play on his feelings and talks him into doing it. You were just a boy playing dress up, should be you up there. Shut up, coward. Once Quinn is killed, the effect immediately fades, freeing everyone from the out of control rage. The moment hits Soldier Boy hard and he starts to feel the weight of what he has done. Not long after, the team gets back together and heads out in a van. Back at the building, Homelander finally manages to escape the safe. Furious, he faces his father, but instead of killing him, he holds back and walks away. Later, as things calm down, Kimiko says sorry to Frenchie for everything she said while under the poison's influence. Around the same time, Starlight meets back up with Hughie, and the two also make peace after their earlier fight. Butcher, however, watches something far more upsetting happen. Firecracker successfully pushes the story, and Homelander is publicly shown as a savior figure, exactly as planned, which they call holy rebranding. Next episode opens with a shiny ad montage from VA, clearly made to boost Homelander's image and push his power even further. Right after that, Firecracker breaks down the effect of the campaign, showing that awareness has jumped up by over 20 points, far past what they expected. She points out that the surge is mostly driven by a certain group of people, mainly older adults, and because of that, their movement is gaining real traction on the ground. Firecracker is then told by O Father that church crowds are growing, and their online gifts have hit a record high click rate of 44%. With energy building, the team sets a big goal of reaching 500 million in money in the coming days. Homelander then steps in and changes the tone, saying it is time to get the country ready for what he calls his rise. He says they need to show him more directly, almost like a holy figure. The group backs the idea, believing they should take control across all parts of society and build their dream on Earth. With Easter coming close, they see it as the perfect time to make this move. However, Homelander makes one thing clear. He does not see himself as the son of God, and he does not want his own son dragged into any of it. Firecracker then shows a book she made centered fully around Homelander, set up like a holy book with its own versions of old and new teachings. Homelander is impressed, but Sister Sage immediately pushes back, warning that this could spark even more public unrest. In the middle of all this, Firecracker gets a call, and the scene moves to her meeting a reverend named Earl Brown over breakfast. During their talk, he remembers how she used to visit the church as a student just to get meals. But the tone quickly changes as he says he is struggling. His crowd has been shrinking, with many people leaving for a rival church. Fear is spreading among those who stay. He goes on to describe a scary event where someone melted a stained glass picture of Mary inside the church. He is sure it was the work of a soup, maybe as a warning. Even after asking the police for help, he got none. So he turns to Firecracker, hoping she can step in through Homelander. She answers honestly, saying Homelander is not easy to sway and instead suggests he join her movement. The Reverend says no, standing firm in his belief that Homelander is not holy. Later, Firecracker spends some private time with Soldier Boy, and after that their talk turns oddly to religion. She asks if he was ever baptized, and he says yes. He then questions Homelander's current path, pointing out that if Homelander claims to be a holy figure, it raises awkward questions, especially given their link as father and son. Toward the end, Firecracker goes looking for Homelander, but instead runs into Other, who is casually going through Homelander's things, including bottles of milk. He explains that some loyal followers have been giving it for Homelander. When she asks where Homelander is, he tells her he is now in Los Angeles. He then brings up the whole Homelander Bible idea, clearly curious about it, but Firecracker does not go along with the talk. She brushes it aside and walks off. Not long after, while she was taking a break for herself, Firecracker is given a new task, which was to lead a press event aimed at the same church the Reverend talked about earlier. The goal is simple: weaken it and pull more people into their movement. When the press event begins, Firecracker starts reading from the written speech, but she stops midway after seeing a harsh claim calling the church a place where Starlight fight fans are made. Despite her discomfort, she sticks to the script. She doubles down on the accusations, even going as far as publicly calling the Reverend himself part of that group. She keeps pushing the story, falsely accusing him of using children and saying that America deserves better, putting Homelander forward as the answer. At the same time, once she was done, the Reverend keeps trying to call her, but she ignores it. In another place, the focus moves to Black Noir, who is practicing lines with a partner. At first it looks like a serious talk, but it is quickly shown they are just rehearsing acting. Noir criticizes the performance, saying it does not feel real, while Adam seems oddly happy with it. Once they are alone, Adam tells Noir to stop overthinking it, just be himself instead of acting. Soon after, the Deep, Black Noir and her father gather for a meeting to plan their next move. During this, a Noir surprises her father by speaking something her father clearly did not expect. Black Noir then pitches an idea, which is they could stage a moment where Homelander appears to give him the power to speak and even fly. It is something Noir could already do before, but the public does not know that. He believes showing it as a miracle would make Homelander's image as a savior stronger. Father is fully on board with the plan. Later that same day, the Deep later follows Noir as he goes to share the good news with Adam. Things take a dark turn when Adam heads into the bathroom, only to be suddenly attacked by a creature with long arms that wraps around him. Noir rushes in to help, but it is too late. Adam does not survive. Enraged, Noir storms straight into the Deep's office, confronting him about what happened. The Deep denies any part in it, but his reaction makes it clear he is not exactly sad about Adam's death. The view then shifts in a strange way, showing events through Terra the dog. In this weird sequence, Homelander appears in an odd position before the scene moves to Terra lying in bed. He is visited by Kimiko and Starlight, who offer him food before he walks off. Terra then makes his way to Butcher and MM, who are in the middle of a talk. After that, he finds Frenchie cooking. Frenchie starts talking about Kimiko, saying she deserves a calm, normal life. Frenchie then goes to check his cake, but it did not turn out great. When Frenchie throws the failed chocolate cake into the trash, Terra eats it. Butcher immediately panics since chocolate is bad for dogs and they rush to save him. Luckily, they manage to do it, and the scene moved to Terra still stuck in his dreamlike state involving Homelander. Back at Vought HQ, the focus moves to Sister Sage. She has a talk with Soldier Boy about Homelander, touching on the idea of him becoming something more, maybe even able to live forever. Soldier Boy mentions that Homelander has not gotten anything useful out of Stan Edgar yet. Sage then speaks with Ashley, who is worried about Vought's falling worldwide stock. After a long talk, Sage brings up Homelander's plan to find V1 and suggests Ashley try to get inside his head to figure out what he is really thinking. But then Sage reveals something much darker. Her true plan is to let the soup sickness spread while she hides herself safely in a bunker. Once everything falls apart, she believes she will finally be free from it all. She even offers Ashley a spot in the bunker when the time comes. Helping Homelander take control of the country is phase 1 after this soup-killing sickness is released. The scene then switches to Homelander's point of view talking with Soldier Boy about Stan Edgar. Homelander says that Stan has not given them anything useful, so they decide to face him directly. When they do, they push Stan about V1, but he claims he does not have it. However, he points them towards someone who might, a contact living in Los Angeles. They follow the lead and meet the man who turns out to be Mr. Marathon. Homelander gets straight to the point asking about V1. Marathon takes them to a safe room filled with valuable things, but it is clear he is just wasting time. At last he says he does not have V1 but says another soup named Bombsight does. He suggests they wait around until he shows up. During this time, Marathon cracks a joke about Homelander which does not land well at all. Homelander's face changes instantly and the worry spikes. He decides to leave, warning everyone that he knows about the jokes and memes being made about him and that there will be payback. Especially the memes, I will take him out for you right now. Just as he is about to walk out, another soup steps forward and uses his powers to knock Homelander out cold. Once this was done, they then try to talk Soldier Boy into turning on Homelander and taking control of the Seven himself. The group tries to convince Soldier Boy to use the moment and finally end Homelander for good. For a second, it actually looks like he is thinking about it, but instead he flips the situation completely. Rather than joining them, Soldier Boy turns on them and starts taking them out one by one. Pains me to say this, nobody messes with my son but me, it is going to be okay. Chaos breaks out instantly. A mean fight erupts inside the house, forcing Soldier Boy to retreat as things get out of control. In the middle of all this, Soldier Boy eventually gets his hands on him and wastes no time. He starts torturing him for information. Under pressure, Marathon finally gives in and says that Bombsight is the one who has V1. But the moment he is no longer useful, Homelander finishes him off without hesitation. Right after that, Soldier Boy drops a huge truth of his own, telling Homelander Homelander that he has been close in a romantic way with Firecracker. Back at Vought HQ, Homelander confronts Firecracker directly about it. She does not deny anything. She immediately says sorry, clearly shaken. But Homelander is not even focused on the relationship itself. What really bothers him is something deeper. He asks whether she still sees him the same way when she is with someone else. To him it feels like betrayal, and without wasting time, he tells her to pack her things and leave. Odd. Firecracker breaks down, desperately trying to explain herself. She tells him she has given him everything, that she worships him, that being near him made her feel chosen. She begs him to see her the way he used to, even saying that she loves him. Sadly for her, Homelander does not seem interested in that, and in a cold sudden moment, Homelander kills her, completely catching her off guard. The episode opens with a legend getting ready for a job, thinking back on his past ties with old co-workers. Out of nowhere, MM shows up, pointing out just how hard the legend has been to find. The legend warns him straight up. If he steps out of line, he will make sure he disappears for good. We then cut to a movie room where a Firecracker tribute video is playing. During this, MM explains how urgent their mission is. They need to find Bombsight before Homelander does. They strongly believe Bombsight is hiding V1, and if Homelander gets his hands on it first, it is basically over for everyone. The legend claims the substance was destroyed years ago, but MM is not buying it and makes it clear they cannot take that risk. At first, the legend refuses to get involved, clearly terrified of Homelander. But after some pushing from MM, he agrees to help. At the same time, inside a secret VA lab, Homelander and Sister Sage watch over tests on Soups using an unstable version of V1. It is shown they have already tried dozens of times with no luck so far. The Deep then arrives and is told about the Firecracker situation. He is told he will need to step in and handle an important job. Protesters have blocked a VA oil pipeline in the Bering Sea just off Alaska. With plans to make Homelander a worldwide savior, they expect big pushback from oil countries like Saudi Arabia, which could cut off supply to the US. So, removing those protesters and fixing the pipeline becomes critical. Afterwards, Sister Sage goes to admit to Homelander that she still cannot remake the V1 formula. Homelander brushes it off, saying there is no way the first creator could be smarter than her. The scene then moves to Butcher, Hughie, Frenchie, and the rest as they study Homelander's recent moves and plan their next step. Butcher suggests a bold idea. Use an upcoming event hosted by Homelander to release a sickness targeting Soups, killing him before he ever finds V1. Hughie strongly disagrees, pushing for patience instead of rushing into something so dangerous. During the talk, MM returns with the legend and fills the team in. They need his help finding Bombsight, but the legend warns them it will not be easy. If Bombsight does not want to be found, tracking him directly is nearly impossible. However, there is a way around it. Go through someone close to him, his girlfriend known as the Golden Geisha. According to the legend, she recently moved into Vault Village, a retirement home for Soups due to health problems. With that lead, the team gets ready for the next mission. Back at VAHQ, tension grows between Ashley and Sister Sage. Ashley is terrified at the idea of trying to read Homelander's mind, believing it is basically a death sentence. Frustrated, Sister Sage decides to take matters into her own hands. She knocks Ashley out and turns to her backup, someone who can pretend to be Ashley. Her new plan is clear. Homelander must not get V1. And with Ashley unconscious, she orders her stand-in to go to Homelander and do the risky mind-reading task instead. At the same time, Kimiko teams up with a legend as they head to Vault Village, sticking to their plan to find the Golden Geisha. When they finally meet her, they ask about Bombsight, but she shuts it down quickly, claiming she has not been in touch with him for years. However, when Kimiko presses more for answers, the tension in the room rises, but Kimiko and the legend do not push it further. Instead, they leave and report back to Butcher, updating him on everything. Butcher clearly is not convinced by her story and decides they will return later when she is alone. This time, they will not be asking nicely. In another place, the Deep begins his public relations campaign for the pipeline situation, trying to spin the story in VA's favor while Black Noir watches, clearly annoyed. We then shift to Hughie and Starlight, who are deep in talk about keeping V1 out of Homelander's hands. Hughie reassures her that she will be safe, especially once their plan with the sickness is set in motion. After their long talk, the scene cuts again. Back at VAHQ, Soldier Boy speaks with Sister Sage about the Deep handling the pipeline crisis. Once he leaves, Ashley comes out of hiding and shares something important. She successfully read Soldier Boy's mind. From that, they learn that Homelander has a lead on V1, and it points right to Bombsight. Realizing things are moving fast, Sister Sage decides it is time to act. She tells Ashley she is removing her tracking chip and getting ready for the next part of her plan, Phase 3. Later that night, Butcher and Kimiko return to VA to grab the Golden Geisha, but things do not go smoothly. As they try to escape, several retired Soups from the village step in to stop them, starting a brutal fight. After a long and wild battle, Butcher's team manages to take them all down and escape with their target, At the same time, Homelander and Soldier Boy arrive at a faraway spot following a lead to bomb site. But things quickly take a dark turn when Soldier Boy finds footage of Clara, now terribly disfigured and barely able to be recognized. Confused and furious, he confronts Homelander about lying to him about her being alive. Homelander tries to justify it, claiming he could not let her go because he loved her, but that answer gets him a hard hit from Soldier Boy. In that moment, Homelander puts the pieces together and realizes someone has been pulling strings behind the scenes. Sister Sage. Desperate, he pleads with Soldier Boy, saying he cannot find V1 without his help, but Soldier Boy is not moved, telling him bluntly that he does not deserve to live forever. In another place, Hughie and Starlight break into VA's lab, the same place where Homelander has been running dangerous tests looking for V1. While hiding, they find something shocking. Firecracker is dead. Back with Butcher's crew, they try using the Golden Geisha's phone to reach bomb site, but none of the calls go through. When they return to their hideout, they are met with an unexpected visitor, Sister Sage. She suggests an uneasy alliance, explaining that they all share the same goal, stopping Homelander. If they work together, she believes they can keep him from ever getting V1. Let me help. Finally, at VA HQ, Ashley steps in front of the press to speak to the public. She assures everyone that the pipeline crisis is under control and that the Deep is handling the situation, doing her best to keep VA's image clean despite everything happening behind the scenes. The scene cuts to the Deep, badly hurt and barely holding on after the oil disaster he caused. As rescue teams pull him out, he immediately rushes back toward a dying fish. But instead of pity, the fish confront him, making it clear they know he is the reason for the spill that killed so many of them. Back with the boys, Kimiko opens up to the Golden Geisha, admitting she looked up to her while growing up. But the moment quickly flips as Golden Geisha tells her that if she truly admired her, she should let her go. Just then, Frenchie steps in, saying they will think about it, but only after they get V1. That is when Golden Geisha drops a major truth. She never even took V1. According to her, bomb site stole it because of her, believing it would let them live forever together. But she did not want that life, and that difference is what split them apart. At the same time, Hughie and Starlight move ahead with a risky plan. They head to the church where Homelander is said to be shown as a savior, getting ready to plant the deadly soup sickness. But things do not go as planned when a church leader shows up without warning and catches Starlight off guard while Hughie hides. Thinking fast, Starlight tries to steer the talk, pretending she is there to talk him out of supporting Homelander's rise. But the situation quickly gets worse. He turns mean, forcing Hughie to step in, not afraid to stand before Homelander's judgment. With no other choice, Hughie threatens to use the sickness on him, and that is enough to make him back down. In another place, the Deep completely breaks down, mourning the huge loss of sea life caused by the spill. While he is grieving, Black Noir mocks him, reminding him that this disaster is payback for his past actions, especially for killing Adam. Black Noir revealed to Deep that he was the one to blame for the oil spill that killed billions of sea animals. That pushes the Deep over the edge. In a sudden burst of anger, he attacks Black Noir, strangling him before finally killing him. Homelander tracks down the Legend, making it clear he wants answers. Surprisingly, the Legend does not fight back and agrees to help, ready to say whatever Homelander needs to hear. In another place, Sister Sage leads the group straight to Bombsite's hiding spot. Not long after, Bombsite shows up himself, giving a deadly warning. If anything happens to Golden Geisha, no one walks away alive. At the same time, the Legend brings Homelander to Butcher's hideout, but the place is completely empty. Still, Homelander finds a clue left behind by Sister Sage, clearly meant to make him angry. The truth hits hard. She is now working with Butcher. Seeing Homelander shaken, the Legend tries to calm him down, explaining that some things follow a natural order, and fighting them only makes things worse. Somehow his words get through, and Homelander lets him go. Right after, Homelander makes a call, setting up a plan to track Golden Geisha through her special necklace. Back at the standoff, Bombsite tries to make a deal, demanding they walk away and leave Golden Geisha behind, but talks quickly fall apart and a brutal fight breaks out. In the chaos, Bombsite manages to free her and nearly takes Kimiko down until Golden Geisha steps in and stops him. Let's go. I do not want anyone else to get hurt because of me. Just then, Soldier Boy arrives, stepping in to face his old rival. What follows is a long and intense battle, ending with Bombsite begging for his life. I could still break your neck. Instead of finishing him, Soldier Boy shows that Golden Geisha never truly wanted the V1. The tension eases and they come to an unexpected agreement. No one has to die. Soldier Boy offers Bombsite a different path, give up his forever life and live a normal life with Golden Geisha. After a moment, Bombsight accepts and hands over the V1. Keeping his word, Soldier Boy takes away his powers. Moments later, Homelander shows up. Soldier Boy shares a few final words about Clara and what she believed about him, then hands over the V1, saying it is what she would have wanted. Without waiting, Homelander injects it into his system, setting the stage for whatever comes next. Next episode opens with a big stage show featuring O'Father playing in front of a huge crowd, but after a few moments it is shown the whole thing is only a practice for Homelander's upcoming public show. The scene then cuts to Stephen Calhoun and Ashley meeting Homelander inside his office. During the meeting, Homelander lays out a shocking list of demands. He says that the Democratic Church of America should become the nation's official religion, completely built around him as the one true God. He also wants the wall between church and state torn down, army troops sent into safe cities that protect Starlight, and a new rule pushed forward to ban abortion across the country. Calhoun nervously explains that he does not really have the power to make all of that happen by himself. The answer immediately frustrates Homelander, who then orders Ashley to read Calhoun's thoughts and find out whether he truly believes in him. Ashley reluctantly says that Calhoun is terrified of Homelander and secretly sees him as a tiny bit crazy. Instead of reacting with instant rage, Homelander calmly walks up to him and says he is not upset about what he thinks, only disappointed. But moments later, the tension explodes as Homelander suddenly kills Calhoun in a brutal way. In another place, Starlight and MM are approached by Marie Morrow and Jordan, who are desperate to know whether Marie's powers could possibly stand a chance against Homelander. The question almost sounds silly to her and she laughs it off. Things quickly become tense when they ask Starlight what the next move is. To everyone's shock, Starlight says the fight is over. She tells them to warn the others and run while they still can. Marie becomes furious after realizing they risked their lives, only to be pushed aside. At last, everyone parts ways in frustration. At the same time, Hughie hears a terrible scream and rushes to check it out. He finds Butcher and Frenchie testing on Kimiko using uranium as part of a dangerous new plan. They explain they have been making something strong enough to fight Homelander now that V1 is flowing through his system. As the group talks about their next step, Hughie finally says what everyone fears. He thinks they have already lost, but Butcher refuses to give up and gets the team fired up with one final speech. Back at Vought HQ, the Deep arrives to admit what happened with Black Noir. He claims Noir had been speaking badly about Homelander, so he took care of the problem himself. Strangely, Homelander forgives him almost right away, but then he drops another bombshell. The 7 is officially done, effective right now, and Deep is no longer needed. Desperate to keep his spot, the Deep begs Homelander to let him run the team instead. He says he is the most loyal member and reminds Homelander that he has always followed every order without question. But even with his pleading, Homelander coldly tells him to leave. We then get to Butcher and the others getting ready for another mission as they arrive at a movie set making anti-Starlight ads, showing her as the bad guy to the public. Back with Frenchie, he seeks out Sister Sage for help, making a new formula that could possibly give them an edge in killing Homelander. At first, Sage has no interest in getting involved, but after Frenchie keeps pushing, she finally agrees to listen. Frenchie explains that everything he is doing is for Kimiko because he truly loves her, but Sage immediately shuts that idea down. According to her, love is nothing more than a flaw in thinking. She admits that her own feelings once blinded her from seeing a brilliant man slowly losing his mind right in front of her. In her eyes, love caused her to mess up, which ultimately helped bring Homelander and Soldier Boy together in the first place. Now she believes love makes people impossible to guess, and if she cannot guess people, then her brain power becomes useless. Frenchie refuses to give up on her and keeps trying to get her to help, but instead of answering normally, hurting the part of her brain that controls her smart thinking. At the same time, at Other's huge event, Butcher and Hughie move through the crowd while secretly discussing their plan. But before they can act, they are suddenly attacked by a soup who quickly knocks them out cold. In another place, the Deep is drowning in sadness when he is approached by a fish named Xander. The creature tells him to go back into the water, but when Deep says no, Xander shares something terrifying. The sea creatures know he was to blame for the oil spill that killed billions of sea animals and immediately warns him that if he ever steps foot into the ocean or even a stream again, he will be killed on sight. From that moment on, water is officially forbidden land for the Deep. Back at VA, Ashley's assistant tells her that the president has been killed, but Ashley barely reacts. Instead, she becomes obsessed with the idea that she now controls everything. She is furious that her assistant used her body to spy on Soldier Boy's thoughts, and the argument quickly gets out of hand. At last, the assistant angrily swears never to speak to Ashley again. At the same time, Starlight watches his own father give a speech to his loyal followers outside before leading a chosen group into a private movie room. He proudly announces announces that they are about to become the first crowd to see his upcoming film. As the movie starts, Starlight notices several dangerous soups gathered together and immediately grows suspicious about why Homelander is bringing them all to one place. The film itself shows Homelander almost like a holy figure, presenting him as a chosen savior getting guidance from Jesus himself. Not long after, the focus moves to Soldier Boy, who tells Homelander he plans to leave and has no plan to return to VA anytime soon. Homelander desperately tries to get him to stay so they can rule the world together as father and son, but Soldier Boy shuts the idea down right away, explaining that all he wants is to get away from everything, including Homelander. That answer completely breaks Homelander inside. He lashes out, claiming everything he has ever done was to earn his father's approval. Soldier Boy coldly responds that giving him V1 was never about love or pride. It was simply what Clara would have wanted. He makes it clear that whatever bond Homelander dreamed of between them was never going to happen. He tells Homelander that he is weird, unstable, and far from a god. According to Soldier Boy, no angel ever picked him. Homelander, who is now furious and heartbroken, he tells Soldier Boy to leave if that is really what he wants. Soldier Boy simply wishes him good luck, and moments later Homelander violently chokes him to death. On the other side, Hughie finally wakes up, only to see that both he and Butcher have been chained up with no way to escape. Even though the situation looks hopeless, Butcher keeps his cool and tells Hughie that they will not be killed yet, at least until he is sure Homelander is dead. Back with Frenchie, he keeps testing on Kimiko, hoping to perfect the formula they have been working on. After finishing another test, the two share a quiet, loving moment together. Frenchie tells her to stay strong because once all this is over, they will finally have a chance to live calmly together. But shortly after, Kimiko suddenly starts having another bad reaction from the test. Frenchie then goes to check on Sister Sage and brings her food, but it is clear that Sage is still not thinking straight after hurting her own brain over and over. Even so, Sage believes everything she is doing is fair because in her eyes she already failed. Frenchie opens up to her about love, admitting that he knows she has no real reason to help him. Still, he cannot leave Kimiko because she means everything to him. Sage finally agrees to help but warns him that she needs a few more hours for her brain power to fully heal. At the same time, the shape-shifting soup from earlier uses Hughie's talk device to contact Starlight while perfectly copying Hughie's voice, tricking her into meeting up. At the same time, it is shown that Homelander secretly kept Soldier Boy alive inside his freeze pod. Not long after, Homelander gets a call from Oda, who tells him that Butcher and Hughie are already caught. Homelander orders him not to kill them yet and instead focus on finding Starlight. He then asks how many people at the event truly believe he is the chosen man of God, and he hears that only 6 out of 30 are loyal believers. Homelander becomes furious. In another place, the Deep watches a man drowning nearby while he is on a call. The victim and other locals desperately beg for help, but because of the scary warning he got from the sea creatures earlier, Deep becomes completely frozen, not sure if saving him is worth risking his own life. Back with Butcher and Hughie, the shape-shifting soup returns and starts mentally torturing Butcher by taking the form of someone from his past. He shows that he already knows everything about their plans because he read their minds directly. He even tells them that he knows where Frenchie and Kimiko are hiding, information Homelander would definitely want. At the same time, after Homelander gives the order to kill anyone who refuses to worship him, Dognot and his partner start doing brutal killings against non-believers. Move, get out of the way. Starlight finally shows up and immediately fights Dognot in a long, intense battle. After a brutal fight, she finally manages to knock him out while Amim takes down his deadly cat partner. Nearby, the shape-shifting soup gets new orders from Homelander telling him to finally kill Butcher and Hughie. But just before he can finish them, Hughie distracts him long enough for Butcher to break free. In a terrible moment, Butcher lets out his long arms and brutally kills Joe Kessler. Afterward, Butcher tells Hughie to contact Frenchie right away, but none of the calls go through. In another place, Starlight and MM bring the saved survivors to Marie so she can keep them safe. Back at Frenchie's hideout, Sister Sage starts helping finish the project while Kimiko screams in pain nearby. Suddenly, they realize Homelander is coming and only have 3 minutes to get away. Everyone immediately scrambles to find a hiding spot. Frenchie hides Kimiko and Sister Sage inside a zinc-lined box since Homelander cannot see through zinc. Sadly, the hiding spot is too small for all of them. As Frenchie looks for another place to hide, Homelander suddenly shows up and starts calling out for Sister Sage. Just as Homelander gets close to the hidden box, his attention shifts toward Frenchie instead. Homelander demands to know where Sage and the others are hiding, but his anger grows even worse after finding out Frenchie was the one who made the chemical weapon that made him weak, just like the earlier safe incident involving him and Soldier Boy. At last, Homelander leaves the area. When Kimiko Kimiko and Sister Sage finally come out of hiding to look for Frenchie. They find him badly hurt and bleeding heavily on the floor. As Kimiko breaks down in tears next to him, she tearfully thanks him for everything he has done. Next episode opens as Kimiko, Butcher, and the rest of the crew gather to honor Frenchie as they lay him to rest. After the sad goodbye, Hughie steps forward to read Frenchie's final message to the team, though the speech turns out to be far more funny and chaotic than anyone expected from a goodbye letter. The story then cuts to a big video montage focused on Homelander. Not long after, Ryan is startled by a loud noise outside, only to find Homelander coming to speak with him. Homelander says that everything about him has changed now, especially after becoming more powerful than ever before, and he believes Ryan should finally stand by his side. Ryan, however, completely rejects the idea. He bluntly tells Homelander that he wants nothing to do with him. Even though Homelander keeps trying to get his son to change his mind, Ryan refuses to back down, pointing out that even with all his strength and influence, Homelander still comes across as lonely and deeply unhappy. Ryan explains that having more power cannot change the kind of person someone truly is, warning that his father's growing powers will only make his inner problems even worse. Those words clearly hurt Homelander deeply, eventually forcing him to walk away in silence. In another place, Starlight speaks with Mari and begs her to leave with the people they recently saved so everyone can stay safe. Mari first says no because she still wants to help with the fight ahead, but after a long talk, she finally agrees to step away as she then did in accordance to the plan. At VA headquarters, Father and Ashley appear to be enjoying a private moment together afterward. Their talk moves toward Homelander, with Author expressing disappointment that so many people still question or reject the idea of Homelander being a holy figure and humanity's true savior. Trying to understand his thinking better, Ashley comes up with a small test. She asks her father to grab something for her, and the moment he leaves the room, she turns to her mysterious second face, hoping to get some insight. Ashley wonders if there is any chance her father could ever change his beliefs if she pushed back against his devotion to Homelander's so-called godhood. However, the second face refuses to answer, staying completely silent and giving Ashley no clarity at all. By the time her father returns with wine, Ashley briefly tries to steer the talk in that direction again, but quickly backs away and changes the subject instead. At the same time, Sister Sage approaches Kimiko to talk about Frenchie, but the talk quickly takes a darker turn. Sage purposely says several upsetting things designed to push Kimiko over the edge, and it eventually works. Kimiko fights back with an unexpected attack that shocks everyone nearby. Before things get completely out of hand, Butcher steps in and calms the situation. We get to find out that this actually took away Sister Sage's power to think smartly, which she actually appreciates a lot as she is now free from her constant thinking. Later that same night, the group goes to check on Kimiko and quickly sees that Frenchie's test actually worked. Seeing the progress gives everyone a bit of hope moving forward. Not long after, the team gathers together to talk about their next plan against Homelander, focusing on how they can finally take him down by turning his godlike public image against him. However, Sister Sage refuses to be part of the mission. Deep down, she believes Homelander is far too dangerous and that going against him will only lead to all of them getting killed. Instead of staying involved, she chooses to leave everything behind and head off. The following day, her father introduces a billionaire named Gunther Van Ellis to Homelander, describing him as the richest man alive, a father to 17 children and even a hobbyist astronaut. According to her father, if they truly want to build Homelander's church and tighten their control over America's rich and powerful, they will need powerful figures like him on their side. Homelander, however, asks whether these wealthy supporters truly believe in him or are simply terrified of what he can do. In response, Other explains that even the softest stream of water can eventually wear away solid stone, meaning that fear and influence take time to fully shape loyalty. Father then suggests slowing down Homelander's public rise, but Homelander refuses to wait. He is worried that Butcher and his team are getting closer to understanding Soldier Boy's blast, the same power that can strip soups of their powers, and he refuses to let anything get in the way of his plans. Their talk is suddenly broken by the Deep, who eagerly offers to help with whatever mission they are planning. But before anything else happens, Homelander leaves to personally meet with Gunnar Van Ellis. In a dark twist, Homelander later returns alone and casually says that he sent him to space, making it horrifyingly clear that the billionaire never survived the meeting. As Homelander keeps speaking, the Deep interrupts again, clearly desperate for approval. That instantly sets Homelander off. He brutally tears into him, saying the only reason he is still alive is so he can keep experiencing how worthless he truly is. Fueled by anger and ego, Homelander then orders Father that once he is finally worshipped as humanity's one true savior, anyone who refuses to accept his truth should be destroyed first. In another place, Hughie has an emotional talk with Kimiko. He assures her that neither he nor Frenchie ever saw her as a weapon, and Frenchie's death does not change the way they care about her. Back at VHQ, Homelander gives a big Easter speech to the company, speaking about rebirth and hinting at his change into a godlike figure. But while this was happening, Butcher and his crew secretly sneak into the building. At the same time, Ashley learns about the attack, but Father calmly says that they already got ready for this exact situation. Moments later, Butcher's team walks right into a trap as powerful shockwaves suddenly hit the building, weakening every soup in the area while armed guards start shooting at them. Not long after, as Ashley is taken to a safe room, she manages to escape security, and with help from her mysterious second form, she rushes to help Butcher's team while secretly pointing them toward Homelander's spot. Nearby, Butcher, Starlight and the others enter a room only to find the Deep completely breaking down in tears. He admits that he plans to kill them just to prove to Homelander that he is not useless. Before he can do anything, Starlight attacks him, starting another brutal fight. During the chaos, her father suddenly shows up and joins the battle. He announces that he specifically wants Butcher and Kimiko alive, but Hughie creates enough of a distraction for them to escape. At the same time, Starlight tries one final time to reason with the Deep during her fight, but he refuses to listen. Instead, he blames her for ruining his life ever since she first joined the Seven. In another place inside VA Tower, a father finally corners Hughie and gets ready to shoot a deadly blast. Someone jumps in at the perfect moment, covering his mouth and causing the power to backfire. Even as chaos explodes throughout VA Tower, Homelander keeps giving his speech without missing a beat. As he reaches the high point of his message, his tone becomes darker as he openly threatens anyone who refuses to believe in him and promises death to those who stand against his truth. But before he can finish showing his power, Butcher suddenly crashes into the scene, finally starting the big fight everyone has been waiting for. Homelander instantly fights back, launching a violent attack toward Butcher and Kimiko. As the battle officially begins, at the same time, Starlight and the Deep are locked in a brutal fight of their own. After a fierce back and forth, Starlight lets out a devastating blast powerful enough to send the Deep flying straight into the ocean. The moment he lands in the water, sea creatures start swarming around him from every direction, and within moments he is badly attacked. At the same time, the fight between Butcher and Homelander keeps tearing through the building. During the chaos, Kimiko sees an opening and tries to use her powers to weaken Homelander forever. But Homelander notices her plan just in time and stops her before she can finish. Realizing things are turning against him, Homelander tries to escape the fight, but Butcher grabs hold of him before he can get away. Homelander breaks free and tries to flee once again, only for Ryan to suddenly arrive and attack him head-on. With Ryan joining the fight, all of them start overpowering Homelander together. But as Kimiko gets ready for another blast, she suddenly starts seeing Frenchie in a vision, who reminds her that anger alone is not what gives her strength. According to him, her true power comes from within herself, not from rage. Those words give Kimiko the confidence she needs. Fueled with new determination, she shoots a massive blast at Homelander while Butcher and Ryan pin him down. When Homelander finally wakes up, he immediately tries using his powers against Butcher again, but nothing happens. Confused and terrified, he sees that his powers are no longer working. Butcher starts mocking him without mercy, and when Homelander charges at him in desperation, Butcher completely overpowers him in a brutal beating. For the first time ever, Homelander drops his pride and starts begging for his life, not knowing that the whole moment is being shown live to the public. Even as Homelander pleads like a broken man, Butcher shows no mercy and finally kills him once and for all. Ryan looks visibly shaken watching his father die, but Butcher notices the cameras filming everything and immediately shuts the broadcast down. Soon after, news reports start spreading across the country, confirming Homelander's death, while also showing that Ashley has officially been removed from power. Later that evening, the surviving members of the group share a quiet moment together after everything they went through. During this time, Butcher speaks privately with Ryan, telling him not to blame himself and suggesting they try building a better relationship going forward. But Ryan refuses. He admits he knows Homelander was a terrible person, but he also believes Butcher is far from innocent himself. Ryan explains that he did not pick Butcher over Homelander. Instead, he picked himself and wants to move forward on his own terms. After the talk, Butcher goes looking for his dog, only to find that his pet has died. Emotionally shattered, he takes possession of the deadly soup sickness. In another place, Stan Edgar appears at a press event as the world starts getting used to life after Homelander. Around the same time, Hughie searches for Butcher and finds both the dead dog and the missing sickness. Immediately knowing something is wrong, Hughie quickly tracks Butcher down to a faraway building filled with dead bodies everywhere. Deep inside the building, he finally finds Butcher standing alone inside Homelander's room. When Hughie demands the sickness, Butcher finally tells his true plan. He means to release the sickness worldwide to wipe out every single soup for good. According to Butcher, as long as Vought exists, another Homelander could always rise again. In his mind, the only lasting answer is ending soups forever. Hughie desperately argues that this is not who Butcher truly is, but Butcher says superheroes have caused enough damage already. When Hughie pulls out a gun to stop him, Butcher attacks him violently and brutally beats him down. However, just as Butcher gets ready to set off the sickness, he stops for a brief second. Seeing his chance, Hughie shoots him and tearfully says sorry, promising to call for help. Butcher calmly tells him it is okay. The two share one final goodbye before Butcher finally dies from his wounds. Days later, everyone gathers together to pay their last respects to Butcher as they each start moving on with their lives. Back with his family and later marries again, while Kimiko travels on her own with her new pet, finally finding a sense of peace after years of suffering. Several months later, Hughie gets a call inviting him to meet with the president, who thanks his team for saving the country and offers him control over Vaught's future operations now that the company is falling apart. Hughie respectfully says no to the offer. Not long after, he returns to Starlight and starts talking about their future together and the chance of getting married. But before they can enjoy the moment, Starlight is suddenly called away for another emergency mission. As she leaves to help, it then shown that Starlight is heavily pregnant, and that ending was a total joke